Hey guys, you're listening to the PetaPixel podcast where we talk about all the latest news in the photographic industry and more. But if you're looking for expert advice, incredible selection, and the best deals on photographic equipment, video, lighting, and more, you go to B&H. B&H is PetaPixel's new gear partner. And for even greater savings at B&H, we recommend the B&H Payboo Credit Card, which lets you save the tax. You pay the tax and B&H pays you back instantly. Save the tax on all eligible purchases shipped to eligible states. Or you can pay over time with our 6 and 12-month financing on minimum purchases of $199 for 6 months or $599 for 12 months. Terms apply. Learn more at bhphoto.com/payboo. Credit card offers are always subject to credit approval. Payboo Credit Card Accounts are issued by Comenity Capital Bank.
Hey everybody, it's that time again. It's time for the PetaPixel podcast.
Why
and
are you
there's
using
3
bedroom
boxes
voice?
today.
Why are you using bedroom voice?
It was totally pillow talk bedroom voice.
Yeah, what are you
Man,
gonna do
I've been
to
away
us?
for a while. I missed you, listeners and viewers. I'm happy to be back.
Oh boy.
The 2 people who are disgusted by me are Chris Nichols and Jaron Schneider. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm scared.
Disgusted. I was just unprepared. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a little.
Who's
I'm,
our
I'm not,
HR?
I'm
Do
not
we have-
aroused, but I'm getting there.
Do we have
There
HR?
was- There was a very clear, shudder when I started talking. And the video viewers can definitely enjoy that.
unwanted sexual advances. Anyways,
Hey, we got a lot to talk about this week because we've been off for a little bit. So there's tons of news, some other topics we want to bring up. We have draft results to get to, but the main thing we want to talk about is all of the stuff that we have with us all the time, like kind of the staples in our kit, because we're cycling through like cameras and lenses all the time. But what are some of the other things that just make our lives easier? But I have an exciting, important announcement, and this is very time dependent, everyone. So I want to, right off the top of the episode, jump on this.
you and your wife are pregnant
This
again.
Wednesday, we will be... It involved my wife, so I don't even want to know what you said. This
Sorry, Jordan,
Wednesday,
go on uninterrupted.
Chris Nichols and I will be at the camera store. We are going back there to work a shift. We will be camera store employees. We will hopefully have name badges, and we will be happy to answer your gear questions that in no way involve pricing, because we have no idea what's going on with Canadian pricing anymore.
Yeah.
We've been talking US for years.
I'm like-
but we will be there. Please come by, say hi. We will be filming it, so you might find your way into a PetaPixel episode, and it'll be a lot of fun.
I just
is-
want
But
to
it got
give
me thinking. Oh,
I
go
just
ahead.
I just want to give it out. You're saying this Wednesday, but I think we should say that is November 26th, I believe.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
yeah.
Chris. I was about to say. So
7 days
Wednesday,
from
November
tomorrow.
26th.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
full work day? You're going to be there for 8 hours? or
Nine.
how
We
many
will
hours
be there
you
for
4.
9 a.m. till 4 p.m. We will be at the
Wow.
camera store.
Yeah. Come see
Slinging
us.
boxes, cleaning bathrooms.
And this
You can
is...
tell us. You can tell us to our faces what you really think about us, and then you can ask us questions that we probably won't know the answers to, because everything goes in and then.
Come talk to me.
Was this was right, Jordan, as a result of hitting a certain subscriber number, and we finally said we were doing
Yeah, we
this?
agreed to do this when we hit 250,000 subscribers, which I think was like 6 months.
Yeah.
It's been a busy year.
Yeah, it's been a busy.
So we finally found a window, and it's great because we'll be kind of like right in the pre-Black Friday Christmas rush there. So it should be nice and busy, and it'll be a great opportunity to hang out. But guys, this got me thinking about retail and the service industry in general. And we've talked about like first jobs and stuff like that, but I want to know if they were like, look, I'm sorry, you have to go find yourself a new job in the retail or service industry. What would you want to do? What would be like a fun gig in that you think you could really excel at?
I already do that. I already work in the retail industry
yeah, you work in
at the
tackle
fly
shop.
shop, which
Yeah,
is
no, you got to find another one.
No, what do you mean another one? That's you're asking the question. You want the answer? I'd work in the fly industry for
No,
sure.
in this world, not only do you no longer work for PetaPixel and the internet no longer exists, but also all of the fish have died. So there's no
Yes,
longer any
there's
fly
none
fishing.
left.
Okay, so you want me to choose something that's completely separate from? So are you guys going to pick
Yes.
a job that's completely separate from any of your hobbies?
Yeah, I can go first if you'd like. What you think about it? I would probably
go ahead, Jared.
work in a bakery.
Yeah, I could see that. I was actually thinking like a coffee, like a wholesale coffee importer or something like that.
No, that's a hobby. We're not allowed to pick our hobbies. You just said I can't choose fly fishing.
I said nothing about hobby. That's a job you currently have.
You said I can't choose fly fishing.
Yeah, because that's a job you presently have, so it's not a hypothetical
so now I gotta pick
Fantasyland scenario. Of course we're going to lean on things we're interested in. Otherwise, I'd be back selling suits.
I think I would probably not do coffee because like being around a consumable that much can wear you out on it. So I think I'd probably not like coffee as much if I was around it all the time. But I think I could enjoy the smell of baking bread every morning without a huge impact to myself. And I like the idea of like it's quiet. I start making bread really early. I get it in the oven, and then like my shift will end maybe around like mid-morning to lunchtime, because I come in at like 4 a.m. to start. So
beautiful.
That would be. I think I would enjoy that. It would be very poor paying, but like my life would be somewhat fulfilled.
Can you pitch me on some of your croissants right now? Like I walk into the bakery and I'm like, what's good this morning?
Well, the croissants actually have been in process, the ones that are sold today. I started those 2 days ago because the process of making croissants does take multiple days. And so they've been finely laminated with our excellent laminator back there. That's one of the things that we've got. And we are freshly baked in our steam oven.
But aren't they pronounced croissant? Come on,
croissant?
Man. Come on, dude.
I'd go to a more pretentious bakery as soon as croissant. Croissant.
Jeez.
What you got, Chris?
I hate your questions, so I guess I'll answer it. I would work, if I can't clean toilets in Japan, because that's an awesome movie, Perfect Days, everybody should watch it, then I guess I would work at one of those, outside in the parking lot where you fix people's chips in their windshield for $25. Just get to sit outside.
So you post up outside of a car wash and be like, I'll just bill your insurance. It's free for you now.
You want a dumb answer? Here we go. It'll be awesome. I'll just check. I'll just hang out. You get to hang on a chair, drink Monster Energy drinks all day long, and just soak in the rays, and then fix. And Calgary, our roads are terrible. We got gravel everywhere. It's a gold mine. It's a gold mine,
just
Jerry.
Printing money.
Yeah. So that's what I would do.
I was thinking,
because I'm not allowed to fly fish.
I'd love to work at a theater, but I don't want to be a projectionist. That's a job that doesn't exist. So I'm going to shift that a little bit. I want to be a bartender at the theater. Like all of these new fancy theaters now will have like a little lounge there, and people'd sidle up, and I'd just be like, "What'd you think of that movie?" "Oh, your opinion is wrong. That movie was terrible." Or "I agree," and we would clink our glasses together, and it would be the bar from Cheers, but with a cinephile vibe, and I would be all over that.
Wow.
My old favorite theater here in town, the Uptown, had a whole upstairs that was like a bar with a dance floor and everything. And oh my God, that would be amazing. Like live music after a show. That's what I would want to do.
Wow. Unfair.
All right. Well, with that, let's get to it.
We want to thank OM System for bringing you today's special podcast episode. The holiday season is here, and OM System Black Friday pricing is here now. Right now, you can save up to $400 on many of the cameras and lenses that they make. Whether you're eyeing a flagship body or expanding your lens collection, the OM System Holiday Savings Event covers it all. The OM1 Mark II, their professional powerhouse, perfect for bird and wildlife photography, which I was just using. We're going to talk about in a bit. Blazing fast autofocus, class-leading stabilization, and you get $400 off. For those looking for an even lighter all-around travel kit, the OM-3 and M.Zuiko 12 to 45mm F4 Pro package is only $20.99. And if you're looking to upgrade your glass, you'll find big savings on almost all lenses, including the M.Zuiko 12 to 40 f2.8 Pro 2, the perfect all-around workhorse, and the ideal close-up companion, the M.Zuiko 90mm f3.5 Macro IS Pro. What makes OM Systems stand out? I mean, professional image quality in a compact, lightweight package is a big part of it, but Their certified weather-sealed bodies and lenses handle rain, snow, dust, mud without missing a beat, so you can focus on capturing the shot instead of hiding your gear in a backpack. Check out the full lineup at explore.omsystem.com/PetaPixel and take your photography to the next level without breaking the bank. And I got to say, we were in Costa Rica. We're going to talk about this in just a bit. Jordan and I were there. We are talking massive humidity. We're talking jungle conditions, and it rained a lot. We were actually
I saw
caught.
the story. Like,
Yeah.
like it was posted on Instagram. You guys were like soaking wet, and it was like pouring rain, but your camera was strapped to your chest.
Yeah, we were in RNL. We're at the top of the observatory there, and there's like this huge, like 80, 90-foot tower that you go up, and it's creaking. And it was nice when we started going up this tower. By the time we got to the top, it started to pour. And you can see in the story, I mean, the cameras are out. They got more rain than just that day. They got soaked and zero issues, like lenses, no problem. Tons of rain, tons of humidity. As long as you took care of any sort of condensations like fogging up, air-conditioned rooms kind of thing, as long as you kept your gear warm, it was perfect. We had zero issues.
I was looking at these holiday savings, and there's a couple that stood out to me. I find this funny. The OMD EM10 Mark IV is
Taylor
$800.
Swift camera.
Yeah, it's the Taylor Swift camera. That's what I found funny about it. It's available in silver and black. And the price is like the same. It's like $800. I'm like, how is this a Black Friday deal? It's because you get a free 40 to 150 f4 to 5.6.
Oh, nice.
Right now, if you buy that. That's just a free lens.
Free tellies.
That's actually pretty awesome. Like, usually kits at least cost a little bit more. Like, even the Panasonic S9, when it shipped with that terrible plastic lens cap lens.
We don't talk about that lens.
I believe that was still extra money for that. So this one is not. It's free. And then there's a bunch of other deals here, like the TG7's on sale, the OM1 Mark II, the OM-3, the OM1, the original. Like, you can get an OM1 original, which is still a pretty good camera for $1,400.
Absolutely.
That's pretty good. Anyway, to check those out, visit the link in the description below. And thanks to OM System for coming back and sponsoring the podcast. We like talking about OM System, so we appreciate their support. And we'll talk about them again in a little bit because Chris wants to share his experiences. And I'm sure Jordan will chime in too in Costa Rica, which I have not heard yet. I have not heard about your experience at all, so this will be news to me.
Yes, that's true.
Let's talk news. We just got the best look yet at Jeff Bridges WideluxX. WideluxX?
Yeah.
WideluxX? Do you pronounce two X's, or is it just WideluxX?
WideluxX.
You just
His
say the
revival
X louder.
project. They posted a video on their website, which you cannot embed, by the way. So you have to go to the website to watch it. It is also on it's only in Vimeo, and you can't even watch it on Vimeo. You can only watch it when it's embedded here, which is something. Anyway, this is showing the progress they've made. We saw some pictures. We knew that they had made a prototype a couple of weeks ago, but now we've gotten close looks at a bunch of the parts, and this thing looks like it's going to be very expensive.
It's got some bling going on. It's rocking the gold finish here. But
I'm sure they're going to paint that.
Well,
I doubt that's
I don't know.
finished.
You don't think they'd keep it like?
think
I
so?
think it'd be hot like that. But it's looking pretty finished. I know it's still a prototype, but it's looking almost done. So, yeah. And I think Jeff goes a lot into how this really started his whole passion for photography, the original Widelux and stuff. So yeah, you get to kind of get an insight if you watch the video on where he's coming from and why he got into it and why he's passionate about it. But very cool. Jaren's going to buy one,
Jeff.
Obviously.
Of course, yeah. He will have multiple ones. We'll be running
You have
around
a wide
Japan trying to
fixation.
find one.
Yeah. Jordan likes his Jaren likes his photos thick.
Jesus Christ. Jordan, go ahead, please.
I'm just saying, I didn't really see Jeff Bridges as a blingy brand. I relate him to the Dude or True Grit or something like that. So I can't think, has he ever played a really fancy person who would have a fancy looking camera like this fancy one? Nothing comes to mind.
He's played powerful businessmen and stuff.
Starman?
He's
I
an
don't know.
actor. He's an actor. He's played powerful businessmen.
Tron's not
Come on.
blingy. It's just bright.
Tron's super blingy. Anyway.
we have had zero luck getting anyone from this project to even acknowledge our existence. So we will probably have to buy one of these so you guys can do a video on it. Because at this point, I can't ask for a loaner. So one of us, maybe we'll buy one and like do like a giveaway or something. We'll give it away once we're done to a PetaPixel supporter. I don't know. We'll see. All right. This one's kind of a Jordan-y story.
Ooh.
ARRI is trying to get their digital to look like film through a set of OpenFX plugins that add grain, I guess. Jordan?
All kinds of stuff. Grain, halation, you can age the film. It's a lot of the kind of stuff that we've seen with other film simulation packages. Like Film Convert would probably be the most famous of these. But this is really nice because this is the first time I can remember, aside from like Fujifilm's film sims, which, you know, don't go to this level, especially for video production, where we've had like a camera manufacturer putting out their own looks. And these aren't just for ARRI cameras. The Panasonic bodies now have the ability to shoot ARRI Log C. So yeah, you'll be able to apply these. And what's kind of cool is it's designed as a finishing LUT. So if your workflow doesn't involve these, like I could use my general workflow, the LUTs I like to use, things like this, put this as a final layer on top of it. And yeah, you can get the halation effect looks really good. And the sample footage they dropped is gorgeous, but it's also, you know, they can get some of the best cinematographers in the world to give them some footage that they can play through there just based on their clients, right? It's high-end motion picture stuff, but it looks fantastic. Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty straightforward workflow as well. Like they show it integrating directly into Resolve, just drop a node on to finish it. Looks very cool. So yeah, I think it's a nice thing to see. And hopefully this will inspire a few more cameras, including ARRI Log, into one of their log profiles besides just Panasonic at this point.
I have to say I wasn't the biggest fan of the grain. So I looked at the samples and it was like, this looks like digital grain to me. But am I being a pretentious analogist?
Here's the horrible thing about grain. Everyone loves the look of grain, right, gang? Looks awesome. Except video compression hates grain. So if you're looking at anything embedded on a website, anything like that, like the last film I worked on, we did film grain simulation, but it was only in the DCP that went to movie theaters. Everything else we didn't apply it to because it really just adds a whole bunch of digital compression artifacts when you're streaming. And you see this all the time.
To what you just said, though, Jordan, you said the last film you worked on. That's not true.
Oh, the last narrative.
Or the last one you worked on. Okay. Anyway, you may continue.
No, I think I'm done.
I love grain in photographs. I don't like it in video. I really don't. Yeah, I don't know. I find the buzzing kind of distracting. I know it can be a thing. It can be a look and a vibe. And, you know, I've watched lots of classic movies. But yeah, I actually like my video clean now. I don't love grain.
Well,
distracting.
On a similar note,
we talk about bringing back vintage looks.
Well, this is a story that is not on the board because I just finished working on it with the team, so it'll be published by the time we publish this. But as part of the Eterna launch, Fujifilm said that they were also going to do LUTs based on their film simulations. Those are available now. And this morning, I downloaded all of them, and I applied them to footage from No Guarantees. And I have to say, some of them look really good. So there is Acros, Astia, Classic Chrome, Classic Neg, Eterna Bleach Bypass, 709 Pro Neg, Provia, Reala Ace, Velvia, and then Wide Dynamic Range WDR. Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't think Reala Ace and Provia look that different. The greens are just slightly different. But Acros looks great. I like, what's this one? I just popped that one on right now. I like Astia. Astia looks nice. So, I mean, these actually, they have translated well into video, at least some of them. The 709 one is like, this one is, what is this, bleach bypass? I just accidentally clicked one. Oh, yeah, that's not good. I don't like bleach bypass ever.
Nobody likes to turn a bleach
It's
bypass.
just for effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these are available to download now, and they're quite nice. So, yeah.
The one disclaimer I would give, I believe it's still the case, I haven't downloaded these yet, is they're only for F-Log2C. Is that
Correct.
still correct? Yes.
That is correct.
That's only available on the most recent bodies.
Incorrect. There's a packet. Yeah, there's a packet here, and so it is a 65 and a 35 grid. So you get depending on what size you're using, and in each of them there's F-Log. There are in the F-Log folder you get wide dynamic range, 709, Eterna, and Eterna bleach bypass. In
Those have
F-Log,
existed before. Yeah.
in F-Log 2 you get them all. In F-Log 2C you get them all.
Cool.
So
okay.
it's available for anything that shoots F-Log 2 and 2C, which is nice. You can apply that to a lot of Fujifilm cameras then, right?
Yeah, basically everything from the last, since they got good at video.
Right. All right. Speaking of keeping the vintage vibe, Chris, you were, I'm sure, ready to talk about this one. Why don't you tell us about it?
Oh, for sure. So Light Lens Lab, we've been playing with quite a few of their lenses, and they've always impressed us. Insofar as what I find so fascinating about Light Lens Lab is they're not trying to make perfect lenses. They're trying to recreate lenses of lore that have lots of character, some issues, some optical aberrations, and they faithfully recreate that. And often these classic lenses are incredibly expensive. So I really like their mission. I mean, they're making their lenses faithfully. They're not totally ripping off the design, but they're obviously homages to the original look, design, weight, feel. But they go right down to what glass they use and everything. And so the latest one they're recreating is Leica's famous 1980s double aspherical 35mm f1.4. And so this is pretty cool. I mean, $18,000 is how much like the originals are. It's crazy. So these are going to be around $1,400 for the aluminum version. So it's a really neat way to get classic glass. The look, I mean, they even use like lanthanide infused glass to get the dreamy look that the original lenses have. They're copying the optical formulas. And so far, all of the ones that I've tested give you a very faithful reproduction of what those original lenses would look like. And no one's going to buy one of these collectible ingenue lenses or Leica lenses and take them out in the field, right? You don't want to damage them. You don't want to ding them up. So these become awesome shooters to get that look. The original double spherical 35mm, it had some really interesting optical characteristics, obviously double spherical elements, extra low dispersion glass and stuff like that, achromatic elements. But it has like a kind of soft glow at f1.4, which was kind of popular back in the day. I mean, Leicas were never, especially these vintage Leicas, they were never like sharp lenses, especially wide open. That's kind of a misnomer. That's kind of a misconception that they were like razor sharp wide open. They weren't. But they had like a cool glow to them and a softness and a look when shooting wide open that was really popular. And so this totally recreates that. The bokeh is very similar. You're getting the hard soap bubble effect, interesting sort of cat's eye effect when you're shooting wide open. And yeah, it's just got lots of character, lots of beauty to it. They've got an aluminum version for $1,400, as I say, paint and chrome finishes. And then they also have a limited edition titanium gray version for about $1,700. And these are going to be coming out like right in time for Christmas for shipments. So it's happening. It's happening. The titanium's coming out before Christmas. The aluminum's going to be just after Christmas. I'm excited to play with one.
I'm looking at these samples, and the one of the wine glass that's near the bottom. I mean,
cool bokeh. It. Yeah,
love it. I think this would look really nice on film too.
Yeah, grab one, put it on your message, Aaron.
Yes, with all of my extra money that I already spent on the TX1. I'm poor right now.
Well, whose fault is that? You have
mine. Isn't entirely my fault. Yeah, okay, you're right. It is David Amel's fault. That's true. But yeah, cool. I think we're going to try and get you one of these to take a look at, Chris, because they're always fun to check out. And you've been, despite your complaints and what you say, you've been taking a lot of pictures in the 35mm range, and a lot of them have been very pretty.
Yeah, because that's all people make. Thank you, though. I'm sorry, I'm being antagonistic today. Everybody's going to say, why is Chris so grumpy today? But yeah, no, I just, 35 mils are so popular. I'm forced to, but thank you. I'll do my best.
Thank you for your kind words. I hate them.
Yeah. No, it's more like I hate them, but thank you for your kind words.
Well, let's continue talking about 35 millimeter.
Yay!
That's what is affixed to the front of the Mint Rollei 35 AF camera that you reviewed last year. And
Yes.
Chris, one of the major complaints you had about this camera
No
that
filters.
you didn't think this was something they could fix because it was
Much
just
like Chris.
a design thing. They didn't
can't be
put
fixed.
They didn't put screws.
Oh, I meant no filters.
Threads, right? They didn't put threads on this. Well, Mint has spent the last year just totally fixing all of the stuff that actually you specifically complained about.
Good.
And this is the most recent one. They are making it so that they can take filters. They use magnets, so it's a specific type of filter that you can get for these. But they make an adapter that allows you to use any filter you want. So they make their own. They make the adapter, and then you can use whatever you want. On top of that, they are making a kit available. If you purchased these cameras prior to the change to adding magnets in there, they have a kit available for you that they will ship to you for free, along with instructions on how to add that magnet thing in there so that you can use filters if you want. That is awesome. And I really appreciate the effort that Mint is going into to making this camera the camera that they really promised and people expected.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
Fix the shutter too.
Yeah, it should be, it might be even worth doing a re-review on this camera to see how far it's come since we first played with it. But yeah, the lack of ND filters is huge because it's such a fairly slow shutter speed, maximum shutter speed, right? And if you're shooting any sort of fast ISO film or something like that, it's going to be a problem. So I wanted ND filters. Certainly, if you're doing black and white, it's nice to be able to use color filters. So they've addressed all that, and it's great. I didn't say they couldn't do it. I was surprised that they didn't thread the front of the lens, but this is an adapter that you have to mount on separately. So I would be curious to see if that really kind of messes up the ergonomics or if it's still okay. Also remember that like UV filters and things like that, we often associate that in the digital era merely with protection. But if you're shooting film, UV actually affects film in a lot of ways. You'll often get overly blue tones, especially on sunny days and stuff, and even some scattering of light, which a UV filter can eliminate. So yeah, it's absolutely essential to have. And I'm glad that they're addressing a lot of the issues beyond just filters. They're addressing a lot of the issues on this camera.
Yeah, we'll loop back to that in just a second. But yeah, I just wanted to say like thumbs up. Good job, Mint, for not giving up on this.
Yeah.
Panasonic just suddenly announced that it is not doing their pro services in Europe and the UK anymore. These will just stop being on November 30th. They are seemingly planning on doing something else, but they haven't really explained what that is. I think there's like another program they have in place, but it's not really doing exactly the same thing. But Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Sweden, and the United Kingdom now join Ireland, which shut its down a couple of years ago, and they will cease having operations on November 30th, 2025.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bummer, but it goes to show a little bit of what we're seeing, which is just not massive acceptance of the Panasonic mirrorless cameras in professional circles right now. Like there was a little window there, which I think is when a lot of this sprung up, where every TV show and stuff were using GH cameras. They were just all over the place. Now I think they're quite a bit less prevalent. And yeah, unfortunately, if people aren't taking advantage of the services, it takes a lot to staff a professional thing where they can do quick turnaround on repairs and send out loaner equipment and stuff like that. It takes a lot of manpower, and to justify it, the cameras have to be super popular.
Yeah.
Something that's of note is that these pro services are very different than the ones that are available in the United States. So in Europe and the UK, there's only one tier. All that was required is that you owned a Lumix camera body, and you got access to free of charge preferential 7-day turnaround on major repair of qualifying cameras.
Very egalitarian. Yeah.
Membership was free and unlimited. In the United States, there are two tiers, Red and Platinum. Red is free and has 3 to 5 day turnaround on service with the promise of a repair loaner if those repairs require more than 7 days. And you just have to own a Lumix qualifying product.
And register it, yeah.
Platinum is a paid tier and has a turnaround time of 2 days and a loaner if that takes longer. 20% off out of warranty repairs and more. That one costs $199. So like the one that it's felt like Europe's was kind of like in the middle or a mix of these. But in the United States, I think they're covering costs by the fact that Platinum costs something.
Right. They say they have no plans to close the U.S. offices as far as this goes. But again, everybody will say that up until the day when they close it. So, that's just the way it is. But hopefully
for what it's worth, our Panasonic contact didn't seem to know anything about the Europe closure. He's like, oh, that's
interesting. Yeah. It's too bad. I mean, it's funny too because we have been touting the benefits of Panasonic video cameras specifically. I will admit I've certainly been a little bit harsh on their photographic equipment, saying it's limited to certain kinds of photography and it does it very well and there's nothing wrong with the cameras. But for video, we've been touting it for decades now, Jordan, right? Like over a decade. We've been saying, come on, I saw your face. Over a decade, Panasonic, we've been using their cameras for the show. We keep coming back to them often, even as much as we try the other brands. And it's surprising that people don't love the mirrorless cameras more for creator work, because in a lot of cases, they're substantially superior.
Yeah, I think the autofocus thing was a real issue for them to get over now. I mean, it just developed that reputation over a lot of years. So, but the good news is their new cameras focus really well in video, and I still like to shoot on them whenever I can.
Oh, I thought there was more to that sentence. Okay,
no,
cool,
trailing off.
Well, we'll bleed that right into the next thing. This is kind of your thing, Jordan. I reported on your findings. There may be a reason to pick up in a C50 since the R6 Mark III doesn't have incredible heat management. It can overheat.
Yeah, so this was really interesting for me because on a lot of open gate cameras, we've seen the same recording times as we do when we're recording full width oversampled 4K because it's reading out the same area of the sensor. So when I did my overheat tests, full width oversampled was rolling until the battery died without even an overheat warning. It was like an hour and 40 some minutes. The only thing I butt up against was 4K 60 oversampled, again, where it's reading out the whole sensor, getting us just over 28 minutes. And I said, look, most of us aren't shooting A-roll at 60 frames per second. It'll be for the odd slow motion shot. This isn't a real issue. Then Jaron was like, hey, why don't you try OpenGate after we published that review? And record times were actually fairly close to 4K 60. It got just over half an hour of runtime on that. And I can absolutely see some people wanting to record OpenGate long form. We do it all the time. Like we did it recently on a podcast where, I wanted to be able to reframe. So it's like, let's just shoot it in OpenGate. I could see that being a real use case. And unfortunately, you will overheat if you do that. So it makes a stronger case for the C50 if that's the type of work that you might be doing.
It stinks because you have to make the choice between that and an EVF.
And IBIS, yeah.
IBIS. So it's like you can't have it all. You have to make a choice, which is really irritating. There's no option. You can't give them more money and get what you want.
Classic
Canon is trying to teach us the art of compromise, and it's annoying. So stop it, Canon.
Yeah, that stinks. I stand by what you said, Jordan, that for a majority of people who saw what the C50 was doing, who are like in our sort of creator range, they're going to be better served with the R6 Mark III. I still think that's true. But this stinks.
Yeah, it does. I can say as well, after we published the review, just because I enjoyed it so much, I shot another episode, the Tamron 25-200 review on the R6 III, and it was a fantastic experience. But yeah, it's not the kind of stuff where I'm concerned about overheating. That was OpenGate.
Plus, it's cold now in Canada.
Yeah, now it's awful.
I think we do. I feel like we still have to point out, when you're talking about the hybrid cameras, a lot of them don't incorporate fans, and that is the price that you pay for a camera that doesn't incorporate a fan, right? I mean, there's a reason why some of those larger mirrorless cameras, and of course all the more video-centric cameras have fans in them, is for this very reason.
Yep.
All right, this one is for you, Chris. This
what?
Justified. You are justified in your hatred of straps. A basketball player, a college basketball player, fell into the crowd, like, right behind the basketball court or behind the net, and had to try and jump back into the game. His foot tangled around yeah, he's fine. His foot tangled around a strap and yanked that camera into the court, and obviously destroyed the lens in doing so.
Yeah.
So, Chris, classic. The hater of straps, you are justified.
Validated.
Camera straps are terrible. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he went into the crowd, right? Like way into the crowd. But yeah, it totally. I mean, you can watch the video. It's nuts. And I mean, like, what a hazard too, because there's like a lens and body on the court now, and
they played through it.
Yeah, there's a 3-point shot, taken right in front of this L series lens. So yeah, it looks like a DSLR. Canon, of course. Yep. L series lens the mount got broken off. I'm sure the camera's probably okay, but poor person that did that.
Needs to switch to mirrorless. Nope. It's time.
Yeah, time to switch to mirrorless. But that still would have saved it. What you need to stop using is camera straps. They're awful. They're absolute garbage. And a lot of people are saying, you should take them off, if you're going to be sports side, maybe, ring side or court side, they could be a problem. But if they were wearing it around their neck, that probably would have helped too. But they're just awful. They're awful. I hate using them on tripods. I hate using them on my neck. I hate using them in any situation. And there are lots of times where I think we've all been in that situation where a strap gets caught on a door that we go past or gets caught by somebody else walking by and stuff. And it's just brutal. So yeah, hate everything about them. Anyways.
I'd like to point out that appears to be the stock Canon camera strap too, which are the worst of the camera straps.
Well, they're all bad. I'm being antagonistic today.
Not just Canon's, everyone's. Every camera maker's stock strap is garbage.
Yeah. You guys get me riled up.
All right, so that's going to do it for the news. But I want to take a second here to talk about why you guys should, if you're not reading PetaPixel, you should. And I want to call out some of the excellent work that my team has done there. I'm just going to breeze through a bunch of stories. One we did was how two photographers transformed raw photo support on Mac. We did a story about how the R6 Mark II and the R6 Mark III don't handle burst mode and pre-continuous shooting the same way. It is such a confusing topic that many people thought that Chris and Jordan got it wrong in their review, claiming that the R6 Mark II didn't have pre-continuous shooting. They were correct. There's a difference, and it's important. Jeremy did a interview with Lindsay Addario, who said there was never a world in which I would not do this work. A photographer retraced Oregon's brutal Trail of Tears with a wet plate camera. We featured his work.
Cool.
We featured photos that were taken on a large format film camera that shows the U.S. military's simulated Iraq war zones. These are really weird, cool pictures. We featured a story about a camera capable of focusing on everything, everywhere, all at once. This is a science experiment done to create a system that can have infinite focus anywhere. We did a story about how the Epson RD camera should come back. Jeremy was really inspired by your draft pick, which we'll get to in a second here, Jordan. He's like, no, we need to bring back the RD one. And he believes
we do.
It could succeed for the same reason that it actually failed. That's a great read.
Story.
The Fujifilm X Pro continues to have an enduring desirability. We wrote about that. Canon, we wrote, should revisit its novel touch controls, and we have an explanation of how it can do it and actually make sense. Remember that the touch bar on the EOS R?
I'll never
Night terrors, Jaron.
Yeah, it's awful. Well, we figured out a way that we think it can actually be good. And then we talked a little bit earlier that Rollei changed something about their lens to make it so it accepts filters. That's actually one of just a long list of things that it has done in the last year that to really push this camera to where it needed to be. And I wrote a story comparing it to a video game called No Man's Sky. So if anyone ever played No Man's Sky, the original launch of that game
garbage.
It was called One Man's Lie, jokingly, because it was awful. But now that game is incredible. It is regularly lauded as one of the best, like most well kept up games. It has actually reached and surpassed the
Do I
promises.
go back to it?
It is worth revisiting if you enjoyed the idea of No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
But I believe the Rollei 35AF is on its own No Man's Sky-esque redemption arc. So I just want to call out that sort of work. We really spend a lot of time. Everything we talk about on this show, we reported on sometimes up to a week or 2 weeks prior. Like, if you want to be on top of what's happening in this industry, the best place to do that is on PetaPixel.com. Everything we write is free. However, if you don't like ads, you can get rid of those for $3 a month or $30 a year, and that helps us out immensely and reduces our reliance on ads and sponsors. In an ideal world, we just wouldn't have ads anymore. I also want to close this segment by sharing an email we got from a reader named Mike. First, let me say that I purchased a year-long membership a while ago. I did not care about the perks. I don't even bother with the login to avoid ads. I did it just to support the team. However, I recently made a purchase at KEH and the savings were more than the membership cost. Now, if only you had some deal for discounts on film and processing. I know, right? I personally need that. Second, kudos to Jordan for drafting the Hasselblad 500 series. But it is inexplicable that none of you drafted the Hasselblad SWC series for fixed prime lenses. And you know what? We're going to use that to segue into the results of the last podcast.
It was on my list.
Which was the fantasy camera draft. We had everyone on multiple platforms, anyone who wanted to, vote on who had the best team. And here are the results. Starting from the least popular team, that would be Jeremy Gray's team, securing 6.84% of the vote.
Okay, just 1 second. Justice for Jeremy here, okay? Because the way that the poll worked on YouTube, which I believe was our most responded to area, you could only do 4 options. So it was like a thumbs up if you wanted to vote for Jeremy on that, I believe is the system we selected, which is not as straightforward. So
I probably deserved better.
Yeah.
So as a reminder, Jeremy's team was Sony A7R, Nikon D1 through D6, Olympus 35RC, the Fujifilm GW690 series, the Fujifilm X100 series, the Panasonic ZS series, Fujifilm FinePix S9000, and the iPhone. Mm-hmm. But you're right, justice for Jeremy didn't. I would say he probably tied me for least popular team because I was in second to last place with 8.93% of the vote. I had a Canon R5 series, the Canon 1D series, the Leica M series, the Leica S series, the Nikon TI series, the OM System TG Tough, the Nikon P1000, and the Ricoh GXR. Yeah, I didn't like my team either. In third to last place, or in third place period, was David Amel's team. He secured 18.57% of the vote. He had the Fujifilm X Pro, the Nikon F, the Hasselblad X-Pan/TX1 from Fujifilm, the Mamiya 7, the Ricoh GR, the Canon G7X, the Nikon P900, 9000.
Some good stuff on
900.
Yeah.
And the Pentax X7.
Yeah.
Chris, you came in second with 29.9% of the vote. And you had the Fujifilm XT series, the mainline series, the Nikon D800, the Nikon S for your rangefinder, Fujifilm GFX 100, Contax T, Panasonic LX10, Sony RX10, and Nikon FE/M.
If I had that Leica M in the rangefinder, I would have had it.
You were beaten by Jordan, who secured 35.77% of the vote. He wins best camera team, and that is the Nikon Z8, the Canon 5D, the Epson RD1, the Hasselblad 500, the Leica Q, the Sony RX100, the Fujifilm XS1, and the Panasonic GH series. And yeah, you deserved it, Jordan. That is a killer team.
Good team.
That was so much fun, and we got a lot of feedback about different options and ways we could try it, and it'd be a great thing to do, just bringing new guests on all the time. So I don't think this will be our last draft. I thought that was a ton of fun, that episode.
I like the idea of doing a lens one.
Yeah, we
Lens
can't do
one would be
cameras
fun.
again. We've exhausted them.
Oh, someone threw a hook on the camera one that I really like in the comments. So I'm going to hide that power, but I sent it to Jeremy, and he agreed it was a good idea. Or Jeremy, actually.
Oh, wait, so you've told me, but I don't remember what it is?
Yes. It was a busy week last week. It has been memory hold, but I am keeping it up here as a future 2026 episode.
As Chris says, information goes in here and just comes spilling out the other side. I have no real room in there. Well, congratulations, Jordan. I don't know what we're going to give you. You need something special for winning this. I will come up with something.
I mean, this shirt's starting to... I could use like a few more options.
You know
Maybe
what?
Like
actually,
a magenta.
I would like to put this out there. I would like to find someone who's interested in working with us to design some new shirts, like actually cool designs from a real artist, someone who's capable of doing this. We don't want to use AI. And the guy that we were working with who made a lot of our pixel art is just no longer seemingly gone. I'm a little concerned because they were based in the Ukraine, so not the Ukraine, in Ukraine. And so we haven't heard from them in a while, so that's concerning. But we would love to work with another artist to come up with some designs. So if you are interested in that, let me know.
If you have an awesome design for a BILF shirt, please reach out.
Well, I mean, we have awesome designs for BILF Hunter.
I did make a
there's
really
another
good
issue
BILF
there,
Hunter shirt.
and I'm upset about it. But what can you do?
Oh man, would you wear BILF Hunter?
100% I would, especially when hunting for BILFs.
Oh man. All right. So, main topic today, as Jordan alluded to early on in this, is that we want to talk about the gear that we use every day. Chris and Jordan typically need to use different gear all the time because they are evaluating it for all y'all. But there is stuff that we carry with us basically everywhere. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the stuff that really earned its way into our bags, especially considering how much travel we've done this year. It's been the most travel heavy year of my career. It's up
of
there with
anyone's in history.
It's been
Magellan, you've been surpassed by the PetaPixel video team.
I personally am glad to not be traveling anymore this year. So, you guys went and collected some of the things you want to talk about. So let's go with you first, Jordan. What do you use every day that you don't necessarily give enough props to because it's behind the scenes?
Yeah, so the first one, I can't even hold it up at this point because it's actually powering the S5 II that is filming me right now because occasionally the batteries aren't as good as I need them to be. So I got the SmallRig VB99. Now, we actually did a sponsored content episode on this magical little battery, but I would have done a full review anyways because it's fantastic, and I would have raved about it because this is a V-mount battery. When we were shooting in Alaska, we actually had a real issue with chargers. So we were concerned, like, oh, it's not charging in town on bad currents. Might not charge on the boat. These were our backups because you can charge them through USB, which is actually not common at all with this type of battery. But not only that, it actually kicks out 240 watt maximum output out of two USB-Cs and a USB-A port. So whenever I'm traveling, I just throw this on the counter and charge up my camera, my audio gear, like my Apple Watch, my phone, all that off of one little magical battery. And it's exactly 99 watt hours, so it's the maximum that you can travel with on an airline. So it rules.
I like the display on it. I see Jordan using it all the time, obviously in the airport and on the airplane and stuff. We even charged up one of our guides' phones in Costa Rica. I got to load up my my iPad off of it. And it's I like that it shows you a very detailed display of how much wattage is going out. It's not just like bars or percentage, but like actual wattage and what draw you're getting and stuff. So yeah, it's
time remaining, like how much at that current draw the battery will last. Our guide was hilarious because he was plugging into the car and I'm like, no, use this battery, it'll go way faster. And he was like, this battery's amazing.
It's so
I got
quick.
44% on a 10-minute drive. This is incredible.
Yeah. It's a great
huge
thing.
ups.
Yeah.
We've also talked about the Maven magnetic filters in the past, but I'm still using them. We've had quite a few different filters come through, and I love these things. There's quite a few different magnetic options out there, but the problem I really butt up against a lot of the time is just color consistency, especially, depending on the light that I'm in, I'm constantly juggling ND filters, and I've found all the time, like, oh no, Chris's skin tone is off. And I've just found these really, really consistent. And more important than that, durable, because I am terrible for putting a filter
so bad.
in my back pocket and sitting on it. That's my move.
I mean, you're also very hard on your gear. You just take those things and you shove them in that bag, and then you pull them back out.
I'm like, it's not going in a smooth sleeve. No, in the bag with you.
And you still use that awful low pro filter holder. I just want to burn it inside your think tank bag. I want to burn them both in a pyre. But I wanted Jordan to have this one, but I use the Maven magnetic filter. We have the exact same kit, and they're great. Like,
yeah, I
so
can actually
convenient.
speak to that too, because you let me borrow yours.
Yeah. Click them on, click them off, stack them easily. It's pretty darn awesome. Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah. Other one I got on the list, I've talked about monopods quite a bit on the show. We've reviewed the iFootage Cobra 2s, Cobra 3s, Manfrotto MVs. But they did, iFootage brought out the Cobra Strike, where you could just grab the middle of the monopod and extend it, which sounded really quick, as opposed to like using the snaps or anything like that. However, I found it very, I don't like it. I found it actually very easy to accidentally grab, especially like, if you're not paying attention to the camera and you just like move your hand up and down, hanging on to it while finding the center of gravity.
I agree.
It would just release, and it was terrifying.
I didn't like
as well. I like to use those monopods as like a steady cam a lot of the time where I walk with them. And the center of gravity with most cameras was right where that handle is. So now I'm holding it by the handle that will release it. So I wasn't a huge fan of the Strike series. I'm back to the iFootage Cobra 3, which I still think is the best monopod out there. So that's a big recommendation there as well. As well for storage, which I need a lot of because I shoot video all the time. OWC is a pretty regular sponsor of the show. So disclaimer there, but I use the OWC Express 1M2s.
I got one right here with the show as well. So I have one
with the massive heat sink.
So great. Yeah. Never had an issue. Like, they dissipate heat very well. They're incredibly fast, and no reliability problems with these things at all. They've just been like kind of my great workhorse drives. I mean, they're a little bulkier than something, really compact like some of the Samsungs and stuff. So I'll still travel with small drives occasionally. But if I'm back here in my office working on a big project, then these are the guys. They're wonderful. Jaron, do you concur?
I have, I think, 2 or 3 of them. We use them on the filming of No Guarantees, our film, and they were used as backups for that. And we've also used them to ship footage to people with it. So they've been great.
Just big, great bulletproof drives.
They're not like waterproof or anything, but I do like, because of that you can just take the cable out. It's not integrated. I don't love integrated cables. I understand why they exist, but I like that this one's swappable. So
yeah, great build. And then the last thing I wanted to throw out was actually part of the news very recently. This is the new Apple MacBook Pro 14-inch. So this is one of the debuts of the new M5 chip. But interestingly, we talked about it last time, the Pros and the Macs are not shipping yet at this time, and it's just the 14. But I was going to Costa Rica, and I'm kind of tired of dragging around a bunch of stuff, especially after Alaska. I was like, I want to try traveling light, and I thought that would be a perfect test for this. So the M5 basic chip is actually quite a bit less powerful than the M3 Max that I typically use. But what I wanted to see is has it hit the threshold now where I will notice it when I'm working? Because yes, it does take a little longer to export big time lapses and video projects at the end of the day. But we've kind of hit the point now where even if I've got a lot of layers, some effects, especially things like noise reduction, which I used quite a bit in Costa Rica because those jungles are dark. The actual editing process on this is now at the point where I'd say it's not going to really break a sweat. You're not going to have a lot of dropped frames and lag and spinning beach balls and stuff doing normal work. So that's something I was really looking forward to seeing on kind of the more base level computers at this point, and they've hit it. I think if you're a creator who's not dealing with raw video or extremely demanding VFX tasks or a ton of AI stuff, it's just a great, well-rounded computer. But 14 inches is too small. That's the big thing I learned.
You used to use 14 all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I had 15s back when the 15 was offered. So, yeah, I had a smaller one. I did have a 14 briefly, but it was pretty much always hooked into a monitor. And, trying to actually work on a 14 now, it's funny. The 2 inches, I find a 16 is manageable with a full, like, photo editing or Final Cut timeline. It's too bitty on a 14. It was actually kind of annoying.
Yeah, you were complaining about that quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, but when I was on the airplane on a long flight, the person in front of me reclined their seat, and the 14-inch was able to stay on the tray. I didn't have to do the thing where I prop it on my gut on like a 20-degree downward angle.
I've seen that.
Type like that. I didn't have to do that. So the 14 definitely does still have a place in this world.
Yeah. Chris, I'm gonna save you to the end because you're like you're what everyone wants to hear from. So you can go last. I think.
Is that true?
Bank
Why
that.
do you say that?
Hide that
You're
power.
awesome.
Okay.
I'm going to take one off my list because it's the same as yours. I'll let you talk about it. And
We
I'll
can
just
both
agree
talk
with
about
you.
it, but I use mine a lot.
Jordan started off with a battery. I'm starting off with a battery. This is the one that I use. This is a Ugreen MagSafe charger. And what I love about this thing is, so we traveled to multiple countries this year that I didn't actually have an adapter for. I hadn't been to Europe for a long time. And then also in Chile, they use the same one. I only had one that I stole from Chris, which wasn't enough to charge everything I own. So just like Jordan, I was using a battery to do it. It's this one. I USB-C'd in the back, and then I could tentacle off of this thing and charge everything.
Yes.
But my favorite part about this charger, in addition to the fact that it's huge, it's 20,000 milliamp hours, is that this does that, which means I can put this right here. And by my bedside, I now have like my regular stand for my phone at night, which I really like.
Cool. It's pretty cool.
I love this.
Yeah, it's pretty
really love this. And this battery is not that expensive. I think that your small rig one's not cheap, right, Jordan?
Yeah, but it's also a V-mount battery, right?
Correct,
Kind of different tiers. So
This
yeah,
is
yours is
more
definitely more
consumer-y.
affordable. Yeah.
Exactly. Love it. Love this thing. I take this with me everywhere.
But it won't run a GFX Eterna in Alaska. I'm sorry.
It will not. It won't do that, no. I also wanted to do storage because it's true. We need storage when we travel all the time. And the one that I've been using this year the most is the Envoy Ultra from OWC. And I mentioned earlier that I don't love integrated cables as this one flops around. But it does mean that this is actually way more rugged. So it can handle splashing and that because of that integration. And it's really, really fast because it's Thunderbolt 5. So I like this quite a bit. I run all of my edits off this, and I store all my footage on this when we're out in the world. So like when we were in Australia and I shot 2 episodes and had to edit both episodes, it was all on this. The other thing that I've gotten recently that I don't give enough love to, because I don't talk about memory cards that much, which is a shame. I think most people really don't value memory cards the way they should. They just buy whatever's the cheapest, which is like
me.
Yeah. This is mine right now that I put this in my X100, which is in for repair right now because I damaged my own X100, so I don't have that to show you all. But this
Details. Juicy details.
I don't know how it happened, but like I dinged that back screen noticeably.
Hey.
It's got a big old divot in it, and it was extremely distracting to me. So I sent it in to get repaired because I can't keep looking at it. And it's like the limited edition one, so I wanted to try and keep it as nice as possible. I never do that to my cameras. I don't know how it happened. Anyway, so in that camera, I have this. This is Lexar's gold armor card. It is a V60, which is perfectly fine for photos. I don't need it to be faster than that. And it's a terabyte, and it's like metal. Like, let me give some metal. Yeah, it's like one of those
Armored.
nice credit cards. Yeah, this is a super sturdy card. I'm not worried about it ever. I'm really not that worried about most cards, but like the other one I was using was a Sony Tough card, and it's like got the same design, except this one I would argue is tougher because it's metally, and I like it a lot. And the last thing is actually a newcomer. So Chris and Jordan would know that I've been using a Shimoda backpack for general travel
Because they're
for
great.
2 years.
Maybe the best.
It's not the one that you just used in Costa Rica. It's they're more travel-y, like airport-y oriented one. You use like an adventure bag. I use like just the regular travel bag because I don't like that many straps dangling around when I'm trying to get through airplane
You can take
aisles.
those off.
He can, but then you have to put them back on if you want them again. So I tend to specialize on my backpacks. Anyway, I just got this one. I filled it with things. So this is not this is not a smart purchase. Okay, I'm already going to go ahead and say that it was dumb that I went and got this. But this is the Hasselblad Vandra. And this is a backpack I did not know they even made until a couple of weeks ago. This came out at the same time as the latest medium format camera they announced. Like, what was that, 2 months ago now that you guys reviewed? Something like that.
X2D2.
Anyway, this came out at the same time. It's $469, and it has a giant H on it that a lot of people just says, "Steal me."
Yes,
but
have this for free.
Please,
that's what the H stands
this has
for.
A camera in here. But I will say, despite that, this is probably the neatest interior design for a backpack I've seen in years. In years. It is super smart. So this is a fabric exterior, by the way. So if you've got a dog like I do, it will never be clean again. But
you're really selling it.
Look, it's the inside that matters, man. Just like with people.
Just like people.
Yeah. So I'm opening it up right now so that I can show it to you. So what I have in here is my panoramic kit, so you can kind of see here. These are straps that go into loops on the side that hold in the dividers, so they're extra sturdy. Then these dividers on the inside, these are the nicest dividers I have ever seen. They're like hard, super sturdy, and it's difficult to see it because I got stuff in here, but there are lines on the opposite end here. So if you move any of these things around, the Velcro, you can just set it on the lines and you know that it's straight. Brilliant. I hate Velcro because I can never get it straight. This I can. Also, this happens to fit my gigantic camera in here comfortably without issue.
But you don't have a
Which is crazy.
Hasselblad in your Hasselblad backpack?
I don't own a Hasselblad, no.
Yeah. So weird.
That's
Anyway,
next year. That's a
I'm
2026
going to do
purchase.
somebody told me I need to get one. I'm like, well, maybe a medium format film one. I'm going to write a review on this because I need to travel with it first. It does feel quite comfortable to wear. So I'm pretty happy with it. This here fits my laptop in it and an iPad. So like, I'm surprised how good this is designed. Like,
Yeah, you've been
who
really
made
digging
this
it.
bag? Well,
You've played with a lot of bags. Yeah, you've played with a lot of bags.
It's
You
hard
know
to
what you're
impress me
talking
with a
about.
backpack.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this backpack. So
Who do you
I don't
think
think it'll
makes
hold
it?
tripods. I don't. Hasselblad. I asked, like, hey, who designed this bag? Because like it's brilliant. Like whoever made this clearly knew how to solve certain problems. I don't know, but it won't hold tripod. There's no way this holds a tripod well. There's zero chance. Zero chance it does that well. But it does have side access.
Interesting.
And I'm done.
Cool.
Thumbs up.
I'm glad you guys brought up memory cards and batteries, because for me, I am a slut when it comes to battery chargers and memory cards. I'll just take whatever. I half the time I don't even bring it. I used to bring a portable battery a lot. I don't anymore because Jordan always has a small rig VB99 with him.
Oh,
and I
so
can
you mooch.
steal. I just steal power from him. I used to carry you got all these I got like a rando mishmash of portable batteries, and I hate having to keep them charged and stuff. But memory cards, I got everything. I like OWCs, Lexars, Sonys, SanDisk, Delkins. It's a mishmash. But something I want to talk about things I do use all the time. So I know you guys pointed out your OWC drives, and they're too big for me. So I use this. This is my favorite. This is the Electron Pro, the Envoy Electron Pro. These are incredibly rugged, Jaron. These are still waterproof, even though they have a non-integrated port there, like no cable built in. IP67, super rugged. The aluminum case acts as a heat sink. It's plenty fast for me. I mean, these are incredibly fast, and I just don't feel like I need anything faster. I come from that generation, of where I'd watch condensation drip on a bus, and that was our hobby. That was what kept us entertained. I can wait 5 more minutes for things to download, and it's still insanely quick, but I need small. I don't like bulky stuff. The way I work is I like everything in my bag at hand. So if I'm going to carry it every day, it has to be compact and portable. So I love this. Super rugged, easy to transmit data. You can get them up to 2 terabytes. They're incredible. So that I rely on a lot. I connect that on that same note. Yeah, the iPad Pro. This is the M5, which I'm going to test here. But I have tried, I've committed myself to using iPads as my work computer for travel. And I like it because they're super portable. The attendants on the airplane don't tell me to put away on takeoff and landing, which is nice. I can also use it for games or whatever, entertainment, watching movies, blah, blah, blah. So it's become a really good travel companion. And frankly, they're powerful enough for what I do, like editing photos and stuff. I'm testing the latest one to see if the extra power will be beneficial, but so far I'm not finding it that necessary. But I love the battery life. I've got the Magic Keyboard on here, which is really helpful, so I can type up all my articles and stuff like that, and it basically turns into a mini laptop. I still have issues with the OS, and I have issues with file transfer and stuff like that. So I'm still struggling with it, but I'm committed to using this as my on-the-go thing. And I can put this into my camera bag. I can take it on the airplane. I can travel with it. And for me, that convenience is super, super important. I mean, a 14-inch MacBook would be pretty close, but still a little bit bulkier than this, hey, Jordan? So
yeah, I mean, if someone reclines, you don't care.
No.
You're like, go further. And they're like, we can't because it's an airline seat and they don't actually go back that far. And
I can pop it off the keyboard and I can just use it by hand and I can draw on it with a pen and I can use the touch screen. And which is why every time Jaron and Jordan let me use their MacBook, I'm like stabbing the screen and they get so mad.
Infuriating.
Yeah. Wait, so on this one, this is the one that I also had on my list. I also use iPad Pro all the time, but I would classify you, Chris, as a power user.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah,
I use mine for ingestion of content.
Yeah,
so like, I find it. I don't use the keyboard cover that much. I use the folio cover more because it makes it even thinner, and then I just use that for airplane. I watch things on the airplane on that. I'll use it to watch. If Jordan sends me like, hey, I got a preview for you. Can you check this out and look for anything? I'll use it to edit all of that. Yeah. I use it for browsing. It's just like, it's a really good size. The battery is insanely good.
It is insanely good. I mean, I'm editing video on this in Final Cut Pro, right? I'm doing Lightroom. Like I'm trying to make it.
You're a power user.
Yeah. And I'm writing all my articles on it. So it is a very useful piece of kit, but there's still things about it that really frustrate me. And I'm just kind of invested because I love the design so much. I'm invested in hoping that it's going to get better and better and better until I'm super happy with it.
I was sitting beside Chris on an airplane, and it sounded like someone was like kicking him in the like side from the aisle every time he tried to move files from one department to another. It wasn't like this is annoying. It was like
Yeah, the OS still pisses me off, and I know they're working on it. I mean, the new update has some very interesting potential. I love the sort of more Windows-based operation of it. But yeah, man, there's some things that are still making me very angry about it. I'll talk about this next because this is great. You got to have this. Jordan will attest, Pentax Ricoh, sensor cleaner. This thing's the bomb. I don't typically carry it in the case. I just carry it out. But it's basically a rubber gummy that you can stab on your sensor, and it takes moisture off. It takes dust off. It takes marks off. There's no liquid required. It is fantastic. Everybody should have these. They work great. And honestly, this is years old, and it's still going strong. But,
can I quickly jump in? I was asked to clean Gadgen's sensor on a recent Leica press trip, which I was able to do because I had my Pentax cleaning kit. I said I would do it in exchange for an advertisement about what a good dude I am. It did not come to fruition. So if Gadgen's listening, I'm furious.
God, he must not believe in the product. I don't know. Anyway, Wotancraft Pilot. This is, if I'm talking about an essential piece of gear, this would be it. This is a special edition. This is coming out soon. Hey, Jaron, this is. I know a lot of people are asking.
We're talking about this now.
Sure. If you want to go ahead, and spill the beans, you can.
We're teasing it. We're teasing it. This is mine. This is going to be the Chris Nichols edition, and it will be different than the other Pilot bags. And we're going to reveal more as we go through. But that is why you've been seeing me wear this and try it out and test it. And this is my favorite camera bag because I designed it. But what I really like about the Wotancraft Pilots, they're lightweight. I like the way they look. It's kind of this like old school, sort of slightly military look to it. The adjustable pouches that you can throw in here with the Molly clicks, they're great, and I love it. And so I live with this bag every day, and I don't I don't love changing products. I don't like having like 3 different things for different situations. I like having one that does everything. So I always try to force it to make it work, and this has been working fantastic. Fits the iPad, would probably fit the 14-inch MacBook if you really wanted to. Deep enough for big 2.8 Pro zooms. Again, lots of customizability, so I live with that. And then on that same note, it would come down to then Wotancraft wrist straps. These are my favorite wrist straps. I like the fact that these Peak Design clickers, if you want them to, that's great for my line of work where I'm changing these on cameras all the time. But it's because camera straps suck and wrist straps are great. You know, even if you're just gripping onto it as a way to secure it, or you got your pinky through it, you know, holding on, or even just to build up the grip and make it a little bit thicker. There's lots of versatility with these. They don't get caught on basketball players' feet at all. That's never happened. You know, they're fantastic. So I highly recommend.
Can we get a fact check on that? I want you to go through the archives, Jaron.
No, it's never happened. It's never happened.
Never happened.
They also make classy ones with split rings if you want to use it on a more classic camera. And I actually prefer these. This one's getting beat up. You can probably see I took it to Costa Rica. But this is like a wax canvas one. It's even thinner than the leather. And again, you can get it for all your classic cameras with split rings. But they're just the best. So I love them. 100%. Right. And I think that's it. That's the stuff I rely on every day. Otherwise, it's a mishmash. Whatever card comes by, whatever power bank I need. But yeah, it's a mishmash.
Okay. Well, if you guys have any questions about specific stuff in our kit, like that we didn't talk about, like cameras and lenses, that stuff pretty much changes every time. But like, if you've got any questions, let us know. We'll try and answer them.
And we'll put links for this stuff down below, right? I know people have requested being
if it's available
to, like, shop for stuff. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the Chris bag is not going to be down there. I'll send
coming
you links
out soon.
for mine. How about that? It's a team effort now.
If you're looking at buying a shoulder bag and you're kind of waffling, don't buy it yet. Just hang on. Just hang on until the Chris Nichols edition comes out and take a look at it.
Yeah, that'll be we're looking at early next year is the plan.
More
information on that. Chris can't keep it to himself. He's so excited to talk about this bag. So, yeah. All right. I mean, we have been working on them for almost a year now.
Yeah.
Almost a year.
I should point out too, just so you guys know, it's in between the current sizes. So I think you'll like that as well. Like I've really tried to tweak this a lot to be the ideal size for an all-in-one camera bag.
All right. So new segment alert. We're going to try and do this as much as possible. It is, I do have to go like often watch and read a lot of stuff to make sure we can fill this. So I'm going to make time as best I can. But this is going to be the segment called Review Roundup, where it's everyone else's thoughts, well, at least some people's thoughts, on gear that Chris and Jordan have reviewed. And we want to get their thoughts, and Chris and Jordan will say what they think of that. So the most recent camera to come out was the R6 Mark III, and Simon D'Entremont. How do you say that? I don't know how to say his name very well.
D'Entremont.
He, very popular YouTuber. He had this to say. This camera, with a great 32 megapixels, which is a sweet spot for many top features like which is a sweet spot for many, has top features like pre-capture, an amazing autofocus system, and super customizability, is bound to be a great success and used in many genres. I can easily recommend it as one of the best all-around do-everything cameras I've ever used. Kai Wong says, this is fantastic. It's just got everything you need unless you really want high resolution, in which case you can get the R5 Mark II. But this is more than good enough. It's raising the bar of that standard full-frame camera. DP Review said, essentially, it feels like Canon looked at what the other companies were doing and said, okay, us too, but better. And then finally, our boy Gordon Lang, arguably, the biggest downsides are the unstacked sensor and lack of vents or cooling options. So you'll need to watch out for both potential skewing and limited recording times, at least in more demanding video modes. I am pleased to see the older R6 II continue as a more affordable option that offers the same burst speeds, excellent subject attention, and uncropped 4K 60. Indeed, for those who are happy with 24 megapixels and 4K video, the R6 II remains a very capable, tempting option at an increasingly discounted price. What do you guys think?
I agree with these people. I mean, this is a camera, like it does everything well, jack of all trades kind of camera. So yeah, there's nothing that's going to be super controversial about it. That was the linchpin of our whole review, is like, what a well-rounded thing.
Yeah. the only thing I would add to it is Canon is a little bit late to the party. I don't mind the lack of stacked or partially stacked sensor myself. I mean, I found the camera to be quite fast. The image quality is beautiful. I do love the resolution on it. And the autofocus is very impressive. I mean, Canon has definitely reached that point now where we've got Sony, like top in class autofocus, right? So I don't think there's really an issue there or a strength that Sony holds over everybody anymore. But yeah, I've always loved the Canon interface. The camera feels good. It's customizable, nice displays. Yeah, there's nothing bad to say about it. Which is why I think it's universally loved. But they're late to the party. So they finally caught up.
I was thinking about writing a story. Maybe I'll get your guys' input on this. Do you think that it may have taken them a while? I think it was 7 years? But Canon has finally caught up technologically to Sony?
Yeah. And I think we have to give them love because they're still designing their own sensors, which is pretty unique. So yeah, I do think, and that was maybe a downside early on, years ago, where they just couldn't keep up. But now that's also caught up. So they're doing a good job.
All right, the other one that was on here that you guys recently reviewed is the Tamron 25-200. I've got 2 other reviews on this lens. First one is from Dustin Abbott. While I love the fact on paper that the Sigma goes all the way to 20 millimeters and the extra composition options that brings, there's a lot of compromises that went into that lens. And so the more that I used it, the less enthusiastic I became about it for that reason. Now I recognize your mileage may vary and maybe some of the priorities for me are not necessarily priorities for you. And if you have bought that lens and are planning to buy that lens, absolutely go for it and enjoy it. But to me, this Tamron lens, while it isn't nearly as dramatically wide, it also preserves some of the integrity of what I loved about the 28-200 millimeter. Namely, that this is still a very, very good lens optically. The other one is from Chelsea Northrup, who reviewed this. Actually, she may have been the first one to publish a review on this. If you're traveling, you're going to be able to get food shots, a butterfly that you see, portraits of your family, zoomed in shots of details. You can do everything with it. And it's $900. I would really recommend this lens to anyone who's looking for something like this. The challenges are going to be the low light situations and if you need more than 15 frames per second. But other than that, the image quality is good. The versatility is amazing, and I highly recommend this lens to anyone looking for a tool like this.
For me, the 25-200 is a nice lens. If it came out in a vacuum and there was nothing else available, or really, honestly, it's the Sigma. If the Sigma weren't available, I would be like, yeah, great lens, nice bokeh. Although, again, it's not really a shallow depth of field lens. But yeah, it's optically well corrected. It's quite sharp. It's not that I disagree with them because it is, and it's a little bit cheaper too, $900 versus $1,000. But I think the Sigma 20-200 in my mind is still a much better lens. Not only for the fact that you get the more ultra wide, which was actually really fun to have when traveling with, and that is the whole point of these lenses to me is this is a travel lens. I want that extra versatility, but also the fact that the Sigma has better macro throughout more of its range. It can do the same macro as the Tamron from 28 to about 85 millimeters. The Tamron can only do its macro at that sort of 28 millimeter mark, and so it's really restrictive. I mean, butterfly, sure, but you can't do maximum macro on a butterfly unless it's frozen or dead. So it's it'll fly away. And whereas the Sigma gives me working distance at 85 millimeters, I love the extra wide angle. The Sigma doesn't have great bokeh, but again, these are not fast aperture lenses no matter what. Even the Tamron's not. And it is slower for sure, and that is a downside, absolutely. So you do have to account for that. Your ISOs are probably going to run a little bit higher, but I think the Sigma is still a better lens overall. But yeah, nothing wrong with the Tamron. It's a great lens. It carries off of its predecessor really nicely, gives you a little bit more wide angle coverage, and it's well corrected. Good flare characteristics, sharp. Yeah, it's a nice lens.
Bangers both. That's what I wound up looking at. Yeah.
But I'd buy the Sigma personally if it was my money.
I think that Tamron and Sigma will both probably sell a lot of these lenses.
Sure.
This is the type of lens that I think the current market needs and is looking for. Something affordable that does a lot of things pretty well, reasonably well, and is small.
Yeah.
So there you go. And it's worth pointing out, these are full frame lenses. It wasn't that long ago to get a lens this small. There was no way it was going to be full frame coverage. No. Just no chance. So.
I do keep saying we should really grab the old Canon L series 28-300 mil that was like $3,000 and enormous, and compare it to a modern mirrorless super zoom lens. And you know what? Those little ones for like under $1,000 are going to kick the living S out of the
So why would we
old
do
Canon
that?
Pro lens.
Sounds fascinating.
You just want to pull a veteran out of the VA hospital, put him in the alleyway, and then kick the crap out of him? Like, what's wrong with you?
I think we need to do this once in a while
Just get a
to
bunch
show
of
how
teenage-
good mirrorless lenses are.
That is
We
a
grab
solid idea.
classic
It's such a
Pro
good idea.
lenses and show how far we've come in the last 20 years.
It's such a good idea. I'm actually going to put it on the calendar.
There's
I'm going to do
no
it right
time
now.
for this. Oh, my God.
It'll be like next year sometime.
Okay, we'll do it in
it's like
2028. Sounds good.
versus mirrorless small lens. Well, you'll know what that
do
means,
this
Gordon.
after the show.
No, I'll forget. I have to do it right now. Okay. All right.
almost out of
That does
time.
it for review roundup. Let's get to tech support, of which we have a lot to catch up on. We'll do
Well,
our
we also
best.
we also have to do what have you been up to? We don't have time anymore. We've
you're
run
right.
long.
You're right. Let's do what have you been up to, which is important because you guys have been.
Because we
up
said
to
we were
a
going
lot.
to.
Because we said we were going to. Yep. Do it, Chris.
Well, Jordan and I were in Costa Rica. We went out to do some bird photography. This is our second trip to Costa Rica. The first one was great, but it was more like general wildlife shooting. It was a press event, way before, like right before COVID. So going way back there, and this
Splashing
was
in
more
the ocean with Jaron. Very
Yeah,
important. That
you
was
guys-
the first time we really hung out, I think.
Yeah, you splashed in the ocean. But this trip was more purposefully for bird photography using OM system gear. And we got to meet up with Ben Knote and Ken Martinez. And these were fantastic guides that took us out. And we had a really good time. Like it was pretty neat. Like I got to really learn more about shooting birds specifically. Bilfs are very challenging to hunt. Costa Rica's got so many animals there, so much wildlife, so many bird species. And what's amazing is just like how much these guys love not just the photography part of it, but actually the birds themselves, like learning all the names, all the calls. They like can identify these birds with their ears and stuff. Like it's always fascinating to see experts in a field, and these guys were absolutely experts, very passionate, and it's challenging photography, which is always fun. I feel like I got some really cool macros, some good shots, a lot of failures. Also, it's the end of the rainy season, but it was still very rainy. So it was also a great test for OM system gear and just how punishing those conditions can be. I got bug bites like crazy all over me. But yeah, it was a great trip. We had a really good time, and I learned a lot. I got to really delve into a kind of photography I don't normally do or do on the most amateur level. And so we'll see if it elevates the bird photography here in Canada. I don't know. It's going to be pretty cold for the next 5 months. We'll see.
I think you'll just be harder on your own bird photography was my takeaway from this. You're just like, look at this great shot. And then they'd be like, well, if the beak was a little higher. And then you're like, oh, you're right. It's garbage. This is trash photo. And
I started to do it. I'm hard enough on my own photography. But yeah, a shot which I would have been like, yeah, it's in focus. And like, you can see the bird's face. I like it. Now I'm like, nah, too low by about 7 inches. Garbage. Throw it in the trash. Burn it. Put it in Jordan's think tank bag and set it on fire.
Yeah. I saw you just chucking SD cards in the trash as you were walking.
Yeah. I
by.
snapped them in half.
Yeah.
Everything on here is garbage. No one should see it. Yuck. Yeah.
Jordan, did you shoot video? I assume so, on an OM camera.
Yeah. So we shot on the OM-1 too, primarily for this, and it was really nice just to be like, look, we're going into this. One of the big strengths of OM is the stabilization. I'm not bringing a monopod or a gimbal or anything like that, which really slowed us down in Idaho doing a similar show. So this was great to just be able to move really, really quickly and kind of lean on that a little bit more.
Sweet. I have been here working to keep the website going. I did not do anything.
Thanks for that.
I did rake leaves. The leaves are falling considerably hard here right now. I guess I also did something else. I went to the Japanese garden here in Portland, which we've mentioned multiple times is gorgeous. And I went there right before the like a major atmospheric river that I knew was going to knock all the leaves off the trees. There would be nothing left. And I took a picture of the tree again this year, but I did it with that camera I showed earlier, the Sasquatch that I'm currently reviewing.
The custom cam. Yeah.
It's a custom 6x17 camera.
I'm guessing Provia.
You are correct. I shot that in Fujifilm Provia.
Nice shot.
I'm really happy with the result. I guess I'll put it on screen. I get to brag a little bit. I like this picture.
man.
It came out
Great
really
shot.
good.
Great shot.
I'm very happy with it. Yeah. So yeah, fall is here, and I went for a bike ride yesterday because it didn't rain, which I'm taking advantage of, and it was 51 degrees out, which is in American. I don't know what that is in everyone not American,
cold.
but it was cold. It's
Brisk.
cold. Yeah.
Like my basement office.
Yes.
All right, let's try and do a couple tech support ones.
Sure.
We're gonna do. This is a speak pipe from Amy Takahashi.
Hey boys, I'm a huge fan of the podcast. Thanks for all the great content. I had a quick question about video codecs and bit rates. It wasn't that long ago that we went from 8-bit to 10-bit internal with most mirrorless cameras, and there was a huge fanfare about that because of the amount of latitude it allowed for color grading, especially when using a log profile. And while that's pretty good for SDR video, it's not quite high enough of a bit depth for HDR video. Using 10-bit log for HDR is kind of like using 8-bit or even lower than 8-bit for SDR video. So I wanted to ask, how soon do you think it'll be that we'll start to see 12-bit internal recording in full frame and APS-C mirrorless cameras? I know there was a few cameras in the past, such as the Blackmagic Pocket 4K or the Sigma FP, which could allow for 12-bit internal, but otherwise you'd have to carry around an external recorder, which kind of defeats the purpose of the hybrid cameras being compact. So I just wanted to know, how soon do you think that'll be coming around, or are we going to be stuck at 10-bit 422 internal for a long, long time?
I think the answer is both, because certainly I primarily shoot 10-bit 422, and we've delivered some HDR content on that. I don't find too much that I'm pushing up against the bit depth, even when I'm grading log. Primarily, I'm using the extra exposure latitude of HDR, but the color fidelity I still find totally fine for that. But if you are struggling with it, the camera makers are really moving over to including compressed raw video, and generally that's all going to be 12-bit or higher in terms of the color space on that. So if that's something that you feel like you're really struggling with, the good news is now we're seeing it on Panasonic. Canon just brought it into their latest models as well. At some point, I assume Sony will be doing that, but it's going to be a little bit. But certainly, even right now with a lot of the current cameras, you do have access to more color information if you feel like you need it. That being said, it's extremely rare that I'm like, man, I really wish that I had more color information, even if I'm delivering HDR content. That being said, of course, I make YouTube videos. I'm not a colorist.
Right.
My favorite disclaimer.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about this, so I'm glad somebody asked. Thank you, Amy, for sending that question in. Sorry you had to wait so long to get an answer. I saw how long had it been since that was a thing, so sorry, apologies.
Maybe 12-bit video didn't exist back then, because she sent this in like 2017, and it took this long for
It
us
wasn't
to
that
get there.
long ago. It was more like, it was like months ago.
We worked
not
for
years
DP
ago.
Review, and she sent it to you. It was that long ago.
All right, so the next one is a question from Andy Gooden.
Hi guys, it's Andy from the UK here. I have a bit of a hypothetical kind of tongue-in-cheek type question for you. Do you think it would ever be possible in the future to have glassless lenses? I'm not talking about the dreadful f11 mirror lenses that were around in the 1980s. I'm thinking more of a technology where instead of light being bent by the refractive properties of glass, it could instead be manipulated by some kind of electromagnetic or gravitational force. This could mean all the problems inherent with using glass as a medium, like chromatic aberration, flare, distortion, diffraction, could all be a thing of the past. We could have ridiculous zooms like 10 to 5,000 meters that would weigh just a few ounces. It'd be optically perfect. It'd fit in your pocket and could zoom and focus from macro distances to infinity in nanoseconds. So if such a technology were ever to exist, what would be your requirements and what other benefits do you think it would bring? Thanks for a great podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is actually not insane. So what he described sounds insane. But it exists, actually. It already currently exists. There's a company called MetaLens, which has made a type of sensor where there are nanostructures on it that bounce and bend light that are part of it. So it's a flattened microscopic lens array that doesn't use glass. So they call it a flat lens system using optical metasurfaces. The concept is really cool. It does allow you to completely eliminate a lot of the problems with glass optics, but there's a neat part. It introduces several new problems, including terrible resolution and bad color is another problem with it. And it just, stuff tends to not look right. That's because it's a flat surface with light bouncing around really small areas.
I wonder about light loss too. Yeah. It's interesting though.
The concept has been considered. Right now, it seems as though they're going to focus development for stuff like industrial, for cars, for sensors on vehicles, that sort of thing, because there's no resolution there for the rest of it.
But they also hopefully want to get into smartphones and stuff like that too, because it makes sense, right? I mean, flat optics in general would be obviously very small, very portable, maybe lightweight. But yeah, I mean, Andy brings up a good, interesting point. Glass is still going to be it for a long time because it's relatively cheap. We've studied it for over a century. We understand the refractive properties and stuff. And so it really makes a lot of sense. But yeah, there's so many interesting technologies. I mean, we've all seen the Litro stuff. We've seen the sort of focusless cameras where you can set focus and depth of field wherever you want. We also have arenas, of course, of digital editing, the actual straight up digital AI-based tools to change the look of the photo in post, like we see on a lot of smartphones. So there's many different avenues of getting an image that go beyond just an optical formula with glass. So no, I don't think it's a crazy thing, and I do think it could eventually be a thing of the past. I don't think it'll ever go away. But yeah, what requirements? I mean, I don't know. Would we lose some of the charm if we could have whatever zoom range we want at full resolution?
Like that lens from Ghost of Tsushima that I talked to.
Yeah, like you're without it being in the back of a truck. I don't know if we would lose some charm. If we could have everything we want at our fingertips. Yeah, I mean, I imagine it'll just be like a smartphone. Everybody will use it. It'll be super convenient and we'll love it. But will we actually love it? Will we pine for the romantic days where you'd be limited by a big glass lens? Probably. But it's the technology's going, Andy. It's changing, and it's an exciting time to see what's going to happen. And it won't all be bad. Some of it will be very constructive and very creative.
Just put a focus clutch on it.
We won't need that, Jordan. We won't need that.
Last one, because it's related. This is from Blake.
Hey, guys. Really love the podcast. This is a kind of weird question. So I know it's probably not actually possible with our current technology, but would it ever theoretically be possible to make a lens that does not flare, ever? I point it at the sun and I get pixel perfect sharpness. Is that ever even something that could happen?
Yeah, I think we could probably actually do it fairly well right now. It really comes down to, as we talk about with optical designs, it comes down to having an envelope and then deciding how far you want to push that envelope. And then if you're going to do it, where do you have to sacrifice somewhere else? Because I mean, generally speaking with optics, if you advance in one area, you got to give up somewhere else, or you have to make it huge and incredibly expensive, right? Those are basically your two options. So flare comes down to a lot of things. It's mostly based on internal reflections off glass elements, off the inside barrel of the lens. I mean, these are all factors. And so manufacturers can do things based on how much they want it to cost, on eliminating gaps in between elements and how they're bonded. They do that very well now. What metallic coatings and ceramic coatings they put on the glass elements to try to prevent light from being misbehaved, bouncing in weird directions. Even the nano crystal coating now, where it's there's actual spikes on your lens elements that bring the light down into a more behaved chamber through the glass, as opposed to being able to scatter off the surface. I mean, this is wild stuff that we're already doing. the more advanced or complicated the optical formula, the more glass there is for light to bend and misbehave and bounce and refract, what kind of flocking using the lenses. So the fact of the matter is, yes, you can make lenses that are very flare resistant if you want to. It would just then be how much do we want to spend, where is it going to hurt us in other places and stuff. But I honestly think modern lenses are pretty well designed in this regard. And with digital tools, you can easily remove a lot of the stuff afterwards. So I don't know that we'll ever try to totally get rid of it, because it might just be really easy to do with a click of a button very shortly.
I think Nikon is one weird name away from completely eliminating flare. Like, we've got Super Arneo. I think the next one is like a Magica coating or something like that, and that'll finally crack the code. If this came out, what do you think would be the first focal length that the lens that doesn't flare would be? Where would that be most desirable?
I suppose like ultra wides, for landscape and stuff like that, where you're going to have a lot of bright light sources, large front elements. Telephoto lenses you can block with a hood pretty well. But I mean, Blake is saying shooting right into the sun. I mean, we don't often need to do that anyways. But if you look at, it's sort of out of the realm for photography, maybe more so. But if you look at telescope optics, they're already doing stuff like this, right? They are designing these things basically with no limitation on budget or size or weight, right? I mean, these things are all mounted into huge telescopes, and they've got lots of funding. They're already eliminating a lot of flare, and not just optically, but also digitally after the fact, right? Because they are pointing their lenses at stars and bright objects, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I think we're already pretty spoiled nowadays as it goes. And even things like a little bit of washed out loss of contrast. I mean, every lens we review nowadays is pretty much like, it handles it pretty well, I mean, nothing that 4 clicks on the dehaze slider won't correct. So, like, I don't know, man. Like, what do we really need now?
All right.
I just want to say, I've never done it, but I'm sure you could draw around your ghosting on an image and then just have it creative fill it in, just AI fill it in. It would work probably pretty great. Just erase I don't do it.
Yeah.
Because we're testing the lenses, but you could.
Science. Science is better to do it hardware. We're going to end with the feel-good story of the week. So War Toys, which is a project created by award-winning, he was a toy and miniature photographer, Brian McCarty. I've known Brian McCarty for well over a decade. I used to work with him back when I was at PhotoFlex. His group, War Toys, has worked with the estate of the late great photojournalist Dickie Chappelle to create a remarkably accurate and detailed 1/32 scale figure of the photographer. This figure, which includes Chappelle's trademark glasses, earrings, and Leica and Nikon cameras, will join a larger set of non-combatant figures for an educational board game that focuses on the people who work for the peace in war and combat. So War Toys, as a bit of a background to this, is a nonprofit founded in 2019 that gathers and shares children's firsthand accounts of war as experienced through art therapy collaborations. So this program helps kids deal with a really difficult topic and through toys. And Brian McCarty cares quite a bit about this, and it's really important to him. And the fact that he's making little figurines of well-known photographers and non-combatants is, I think, awesome. This is not the first one he's done. He did one also with photojournalist David Gilkey. So that is really neat. There's like little figures and they got their little cameras. I don't know. If I was a kid, I would want a set of these along with my Army Men figures that I had back then. It's a pretty cool story. And again, this is why people should really check out PetaPixel.com. I know we work for you, but like the articles are really cool. You learn about this stuff that's photography related or photography adjacent, and there's some very fascinating stories to be told here. So that's why we encourage you guys to check it out. And with that, the PetaPixel podcast for this week is over. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. George, what? Nothing. Just the tone change there I thought was hilarious, much like mine. Right at this, we're gonna go start with whispers and end with whispers. There we go. And that's the podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks to OM System for sponsoring this episode, and thanks to our partners at B&H for their continued support as well. And we'll see you all next time, real soon, on the PetaPixel podcast. Oh, happy little. See ya.